Good evening. This is 7 o'clock news bulletin live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. But first, the headlines. The National Conference for Oman Future Vision 2040 starts tomorrow. The unloaded fish quantities in the Sultanate record an increase by 21% by end of October 2018. And the United States calls for a United Nations Security Council meeting to end Venezuela's political showdown. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Activities of the National Conference for Oman Future Vision 2040 will be launched tomorrow in Oman Conventions and Exhibition Center. The two-day conference discusses various topics related to the appropriate mechanisms and possibilities that achieve the vision and enhance community participation. The first steps of the Oman 2040 vision started back in 2013, where His Majesty directed to form the main committee for the vision project, which focused on three main concepts that are concerned with people and community economic diversifications, as well as evaluation of institutional performance. The vision focuses on a number of aspects, among which are preserving the Omani identity and heritage, development of national capabilities, growth of economy, preserving the sustainability of the environment, finding and modern infrastructure, and an integrated urban system, as well as many others. Her Excellency Gabriela Guevas Baron, President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, held the Sultanate's policy under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, as well as its positive role in finding peaceful solutions for various global and regional issues. She expressed that the Sultanate's approach is based on constructive dialogue to pave the way for cooperation with others. She added that the Sultanate, through its policy, which calls on tolerance, cooperation, harmony, and extending friendship relations with all, was able to take a positive stance towards a number of global issues. The unloaded fish quantities in the Sultanate recorded an increase by 21% by the end of October 2018 compared to 2017 to reach around 300,000 tons, with a total value exceeding 213 million Omani riyals. Meanwhile, the Governorate of Al-Wusta recorded the highest quantity of fish, followed by South Sharqiya, then North and South Al-Batina. And now for the international news. Israeli troops shot and killed a Palestinian man in Gaza as thousands took part in a protest along the border. In the West Bank, meanwhile, Israeli soldiers shot and killed a Palestinian teen and wounded another as a group of young men hurled stones at the troops. Hamas vowed to escalate the weekly demonstrations, which it has organized since last March to highlight the Strip's dire economic conditions, exacerbated by more than a decade of Israeli-Egyptian blockade. The Hamas said 25-year-old Ihab Abed was critically shot in the chest along the fence east of the town of Rafah in southern Gaza Strip and died soon afterward. At least 22 other Palestinians were wounded by gunfire, including 14 minors at several locations along the fence. The protesters burned tires and threw rocks and fire bombs towards the heavily guarded fence. Along with live fire, Israeli forces also fired tear gas. Venezuela's political showdown moves to the United Nations, where a Security Council meeting called by the United States will pit backers of President Nicolas Maduro against the Trump administration and supporters of the country's self-declared interim leader Juan Guaido. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is expected to address the meeting along with Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Arreza and the other council members, which include supporters of both dueling presidents. The sessions focusing on Venezuela's crisis comes a day after Guaido vowed to remain on the streets until his country has a transitional government, while Maduro dug in and accused his opponents of orchestrating a coup. Guaido urged his followers to stage another mass protest next week, while Maduro pushed his call for dialogue. President Donald Trump, who famously vowed to negotiate big deals in the White House, came out of a government shutdown battle politically wounded and outmaneuvered by U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi, with Americans exasperated over the 35-day shutdown impact on everyday life, including air travel. Trump finally gave in and agreed to reopen the government until February 15. Without getting the $5.7 billion he had demanded for a border wall. In a speech in the Rose Garden, he did not admit to backing down. But behind the scenes at the White House, there was a recognition that he had lost this round. On Thursday night, Vice President Mike Pence and senior advisor Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, presented Trump with 4 options, including declaring a national emergency right away, which would let him fund the building of border, a wall without congressional approval, but guaranteeing a court challenge. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. The Crafts Competencies exhibition showcases marvelous crafted jewelry and textile works of newly graduated crafts trainees. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Around 8,807 commercial agencies were registered in the electronic portal of Invest Easy during last year. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry pointed out that providing services through this portal aims to facilitate the registrations of investors and following up their transactions with ease. It called on investors in companies and the owners of small and medium enterprises to benefit from the services available in the market, so as to contribute in the development of private sector. 105 of the public joint stock companies listed in Muscat Securities Market released their financial statements for the year 2018, showing a net growth by 23% compared to the year before. 78% of the disclosing companies achieved a profit exceeding 700 million Omani Rials compared to 630 million Rials for year 2017. At the sector level, the result indicated 89% and 87% of the companies in the finance sector and in the service sector achieved profit respectively, while 71% of the companies in the manufacturing sector made profits during 2018. The Public Authority for Crafts Industries organized the Crafts Competencies exhibitions that showcases marvelous crafted jewelry made from silver and copper, as well textile works for the newly graduated crafts trainees after undergoing relevant training program. The exhibition aims at promoting the works of the craftsmen and women and enabling them to interact with potential customers and investors to take their work one step ahead. Manah charitable team, which is affiliated to the Social Development Commerce in the Wilayat, organized an annual celebration under the patronage of His Highness Sayyid Fahar bin Fatika Al Saeed. During the ceremony, the team highlighted the achievements during the previous year, such as organizing group weddings and giving charity to the disadvantaged families and students. Manah Charitable Works team reviewed the 2018 financial report and projects like supplying Manah Health Center with medical equipment and supporting the establishments of Manah Innovation Center. Visitors to the Muscat Festival in Al Amarat Park have the opportunity to experience various aspects of the Omani heritage, among which is Al-Zajira, a traditional method of irrigation used by Omanis since ancient times. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi has visited Al-Zajira corner and made this report.
Omanis have mastered means of irrigation since ancient times by using natural resources and adapting them to irrigate their farms. Al-Zajira or Al-Zajra is a vivid example of those traditional methods of irrigation that Omanis excelled in their engineering.
To understand the cultural heritage of what the Omanis have done, I understand in this exhibit, it's not only showing what the irrigation and the farming are for today, but it brings in what it was in the past. And it's really showing me, it's from some respects, the engineering marvels of how it was done. The water is being irrigated out, bringing it to the farming to do the crops and to have sustainability for the Omani. So I find it a very fascinating exhibit, and it's I think it shows a lot of how Oman is today and how it is progressing into the future.
Al-Zajra is a mechanical means by which groundwater is lifted from a dug well using an animal like a bull or a donkey. The Zajra consists of one or two manure well wheels, which are fitted around a central hub.
I think it is, well, we have planned very nicely by showing this to everyone else. And right now, after seeing this, I'm knowing the culture of Oman, the old heritage Oman. Right now, after seeing this, I'm having more information about this. Like, this is a good step, while the olden people used to do it. So from this, they are drawing the water from the well, and it's a good process that people used animals. They're using their ideas, they're using their beautiful ideas to do this. And right now we can see as well, here as well, the bull is pulling the water. By this, all the people here who is not having any ideas are getting ideas, and they're seeing about this, how old Oman, how old traditions were happening. And right now all are getting more information on this.
The scene may take long, but it certainly brings life to plantations. It shows the determination and patience of Omanis and their dedication to preserve this heritage through generations.
The visitors to this corner will get a closer insight of how this amazing system has been used by Omanis for irrigation. From Al Amirat Park, Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi, Muscat.
Thank you very much, Saleh. That was a very good system of Al-Zajra or Al-Zajra is how it's been called here in the Sultanate of Oman. And now to Nakhal. The Nakhal photography team was inaugurated in the Governorate of South Al-Batina, which started displaying its works in an exhibition held under the auspices of His Excellency Nasser bin Hamoud Al-Kindi, Secretary General of Royal Court Affairs.
Nakhal photography team has been working for months in order to establish the first photography exhibition alongside with the launching of the team. Mahmoud Al-Jabri, the head of the team, stated the efforts spent to officially launch the team. He said,
the idea of this team came because Nakhal has many photographers. Some of them have been awarded with global awards and participated in many international events. Thus, we need to work as a team to fulfill that area. On top of that, the Omani Association of Photography supports such teams, which provides the association with many photographers that are capable in photography.
The logo of the team represented Nakhal Fort as a typical landmark which attracts many clickers or photos to snap it from different spots. 73 amazing photos have been displayed as an overall outcome of a competition from all around the Sultanate. The theme of the participants was entitled Nakhal as seen by photographers. Meanwhile, the exhibition included another 38 photos showing some touristic features from Nakhal and many beautiful moments from the Omani society. Saif Al-Kindi for English News, Nakhal.
And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the most of the governorates with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the coast of Arabian Sea. Winds will be southeasterly to south light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. More details on your screen. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The National Conference for Oman Future Vision 2040 starts tomorrow. The unloaded fish quantities in the Sultanate record an increase by 21% by the end of October 2018. And the United States calls for a United Nations Security Council meeting to end Venezuela's political showdown. With that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us and good night.